provide the system on this and say, okay, we're doing 5 by 5, and they're doing 60-pound double bench presses at 5 by 5. They're stuck at 5s, but I'm worried that the magnets are going to fall off if they put the magnets on, and they're not ready for 65s because they're not stable enough to handle them, and they're cutting their range of motion because they're simply scared of the 65s. What would I do? We're going to go 6s. So I'd write 6 as an exponent instead of the 5. That would make complete sense. You know, like, or maybe I'm just scared to mount up the 100 pounds with John, so I'm going to go 95s for 6 instead of 5s. So that would make complete sense to me. As long as I wrote that there, you see that there's differences there. But likewise, on warm-up sets, I see different things with, like Dr. Suggs having him do 10s versus 5s when warms up. He needs those 10s a lot of times, so I do a few more sets of 10s usually with him to get him warmed up. And then he's ready to kill it after that. But if I do 5s, he's still stiff and tight. And it's pretty early in his old. You know, so subtleties there where I'm maybe changing up the rep scheme. If you see weight list on the left, there's a rep code and different describers. In some cases, that exponent is meant to be a pause count for each rep. See the right box below for examples. So obvious ones like 3s, and you're in a accumulation phase of 12, 10, 8, 6, 3s would be a pause count. Or if there's a 8 written for the reps and a 3 has an exponent, a super exponent, that means pauses of 3s. So those are things. Watch out for the eccentrics of 8 seconds and maybe 30 seconds, and differentiating if that's an eccentric or a reps count. But again, in your tempo boxes, that should all be listed. So moving on, where the hell am I? Okay, the optional exercises listed in the pink color are those recommended that would make the workout more female-friendly if desired. We already discussed that, but this is kind of a test. I'm a little concerned that some might not like that, but I think it makes perfect sense. You know, when I look through all the phases, the differences are so small. Like the only thing I think a female honestly needs, you can tell me if I'm wrong, or you can tell me if I'm wrong, that needs any different in their strength training needs whatsoever is less upper torso pushing work. They probably want more pulling work than anybody. If you ask the guy, they want all front torso. So the volume of upper torso work is it. That's all that, like, except for what they want versus what I know they need, and what I want would be the inner outer thigh machine. Those are the only two differences. There's a few subtleties in the hybrid phases and stuff like that, but I'm trying to put them all on the sheet as optional changes. So we all need a deadlift. We all need to do horizontal pushing, pulling, vertical pushing, pulling. We all need unilateral, bilateral, basic motions in all these directions. So it's not and you made a good point on this the other day. There's such a great strong push now of getting women to train like men, and really it's just we all need to train the same way. We all have the same freaking needs when it comes to strength training. So there can be subtleties on focus areas and stuff like that that you can manipulate and alter for them. So let them know this is a programmed system, but it adjusts around them. It's not a cookie cutter. This is changes to them. It gives us 10 steps ahead of the game. All right. Next box. This is a prompt to always assess how the person is feeling, sleep, energy, nutrition, soreness, recovery, etc. Then a brief note may be written by the given day in order to make alterations to the day or make connections to anything related to the workout. Example, tired from running 5 miles yesterday. This may be why their squats are so much weaker today than the last workout, or didn't sleep much last night. Low back sore from the last workout, etc. So I saw someone, I think you were auditing someone else's workout, and something I would have made the same comment on. Their deadlifts went from like 205 for 6, the next workout went 205 for 4, and you wrote, what happened? I want to know too, why did we lose 2 reps in this? They're dialed in, you're a good coach, and although they walked in tired, that's your job, motivation. You know, they're not, if they were training 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, I understand, they're smoked. And I might see more ebbs and flows there, but no, they're not world-class lifters here. They need to be dialed in and have consistent work here. So why did they lose those 2 reps? They were tired from running 5 miles yesterday. Okay, I understand. I get it. No more questions. Okay, this is next box. This is the RP scale rating of perceived exertion used to quantify the difficulty of set, pain, heaviness, etc. You guys have all asked this when you first trained. Is that difficulty? Is it heaviness? Is it fatigue? Is it their pain tolerance? Yes. So use it however you need it. It's a great scale to figure out anything. You ask someone, how motivated are you today? How about on a scale from 1 to 10? How much do you like working here on a scale from 1 to 10? You know, it's 10. You know, so you can get different levels of an answer. So have you been fulfilling your requirements of your 6-day cardio on your own on your laser program? Yes. Okay. How often? 2 out of 4 times, So it's just you see there's more to the answer than just yes or no kind of stuff. So explore further is my point. Each workout has a given name and a theme. So we're looking at the top title. The P stands for phase, followed by the number. Example, phase 2. The rest of the title indicates the focus of the day, given phase of the programming, etc. This is also going to be, we're making a membership-based site that's going to be available for members to get on there and figure out what the hell's going on. So if they're a premium member, they travel, whatever, they can figure stuff out. The next box, the lab gym is the best gym in the whole damn world. Yep. Let's go to the next box to the left. The big box is a list of shorthand symbols used for note-taking purposes. Most all notations in shorthand should be listed here that is used in the programming note-taking process for the most advanced and scientific training possible. There's a lot of good stuff there. I had a horrible time making these cards big enough, so there's complaints about the cards being too small. They're confusing. Now they're all vertical lines. It can transpose to the right very nicely. I've tried to figure out all the problems and issues we've had with these workout cards over the years and fix that. Now, if this was irrelevant, I would have definitely kept it out to save space, because I'd rather have the core shit there. So you notice the core work's not on there. Phase 1, it's still there. But the core work there, the manual is overkill, not being used effectively. We're going to have that abbreviated manual. Once they're in phase 2, you rotate effectively as needed. I would be completely happy and fine with them rotating A1 through A4 for the rest of their freaking lives, if they're okay with it. They need more fancy schmanchiness. They're like Ryan Abbott, they're like Jen. You need to wow them, use the damn core manual, rotate it, make the ninjas with it. It all depends. How much flexion rotation type stuff do you need, honestly? I mean, a lot of the basic core work is worked into the workout. I used to make hypers as preferred and recommended in phase 2 every deadlift day, but in mandatory in phase 3. How often did it happen? Probably this much of the time. Now that's why hypers are moved up. So we don't have to worry about the core manual fucking us up anymore, basically. I may change that and add that in here. Long story short, the point of this rant was this box, look at it, use the little details in there, and see how you can refine your notes, or if you see a note, something you're not sure what it means, don't assume, and figure it out. Next box. These symbols are used to make quick notes on the workout as a whole. Circle the down arrow for a bad workout, up arrow for a good workout, equal sign for an okay average workout. I understand if you don't use those. If you want to use them, they help you, go ahead. Those are my least concern of everything on this entire card. However, on direct opposite to that, the RP spot there is extremely important, especially if someone's going into a new phase. If they're brand new, every workout until they progress to phase 2, or they're into a new phase, whether it's phase 2, whether it's they were phase 2 for, say, 2 months, and all of a sudden they go 5, 10, 15 out of that, that's the time when I want to see those RPs there. Something new, I need a measurement of how it is for them. So if there's someone you're dialed in with and you know inside and out, I can live without it being there, but when I go through an audit, I want to know. So I've got clients I've had for 6 years, I don't write it every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know where they're at. I know better than they do. You know, Robert. Robert. Yes, I know him very well. I haven't trained him in years. And he was, cardio, it didn't go too well today. It was the asthma excuse. I mean, you know them so well that you by this kind of process, you figure them out. You can push all the buttons. All right, almost there. When options are next box. When options are listed with an arrow between them, this is the indicated direction. Either regression from the hardest to easiest, and in some cases, progression from easiest to hardest, depending on the situation. In this case, with the push-up, the goal is to find the appropriate style that the person can perform a full range of motion with clean form and no bad pain. Determine at which stage of this progression or regression this may be, from wall push-ups with hands elevated on a bench or barbell, with assistance with a partner and a band around the waist, or from the knees, or from the regular style from the toes. Hence, if someone is attempting to do them from the toes but cannot perform a clean full range of motion reps for the prescribed reps, regress them back down that chain of regressions and progression. So we talked about it twice. I think we all got it. Next box. This is a general list of the most common corrective stretches used for between sets purposes. Either for quick use between sets while recovery is taking place to help restore optimal muscle balance and length tension relationships. These are to be used in addition to any warm-up mobility work used, rowing, etc., for post-workout stretching and post-workout stretching. So one way, so John doesn't stay doing post-workout stretches. After I've been on my hands and knees begging for years, I made him specialty sheets to go stretch. That's what stimulated a lot of this. He needs to get flexible in some of his positions. I can't handle it anymore. He's calcifying everywhere. He can't move. And so our progress has stagnated in a lot of directions. And we used to deadlift 300 pounds routinely and squat even close to that, but I stopped it. I can't handle it. So, John, you're doing your hamstring stretch between this set. You're doing this stretch between that set. It's using robotic and getting it done between the workout. If I lose a set or two through the workout as a result, fine. but that's not how it should be used. It should be used as in conjunct with the JTLC, any pre-rolling you need to do, and any post-workout stretching you need to do. So make sure they're doing that. Like Jen Barton, again, Jen, I need you to do the bare minimum stretching now. What's that? And there was an issue a long time where Marshall wasn't making her do the JTLC. Marshall's response to me, I never told anyone specifically never not to do the JTLC. What were Jen's exact words? He told me specifically, sternly, not to do the JTLC. And do this roll and that stretch and this nose touch. And where is she? I guess it wasn't his fault she didn't do it. He did hurt two backs as well. But those are the guys that are so focused on the stupid shit, but they're not the basics. So you hurt someone with the leg press and the deadlift, but you're worried about 1 second difference on an eccentric. The 3 seconds versus the 4 seconds. I'll never get over this, I'm sorry. This is a general list. Okay, there are detailed... Yeah, cover line. These are the detailed prescriptions for all the sets and reps to be performed. All warm-up, so we're looking at the boxes where all the percentages and numbers are. Kind of talked about already. All warm-ups and work sets are listed. The yellow and parentheses base sets are in some cases optional. The work sets are generally recommended but not always appropriate. Likewise, the warm-up sets may not always be necessary. The rep scheme, here's the important part, is what drives the numbers, weights selected, and the percentages are just close recommendations and suggestions. Alter is necessary and appropriate. Again, the reps dictate the weights used and the individual's ability with the respective weights and reps, and not the percentage. However, a dialed-in individual will be very close to the percentage on the work sets with the respective given rep scheme. I challenge you to come back to me and tell me your percentages suck. And tell me why. I'll reward you handsomely somehow. I want to know if this is wrong. I've gone through this from strongest to weakest in all scenarios. Well, let me know if it's bullshit. It's not. So for yourself, I highly recommend you try this out on any rep scheme you want to do. I got triples, singles, you name it, all worked out on this hybrid stuff. Let me know how it goes. Next box up to the left. This is where in the workout core training we typically go, unless a laser climb. See the core manual and or abbreviated core manual. Staple the core manual to the sheets of the respective phase. So if I'm doing phase 2, the accumulation phase, staple to the back. Write your date on that sheet for the respective day that you're doing that core, and take your notes on that sheet. Very clear? We all got that? I have a feeling that's not going to go well. Date the sheet and take notes on the set reps, and the core sheet is ideal to stay at most 10 minutes for the core and at least 5 minutes. So budget time to save, because I get a lot of things like, we ran out of time for core. If core is that important for that client to get it done, you carve out 10 minutes no matter what, and you make a note for yourself so you don't forget. And so at those last 10 minutes, okay, it's 5:50, we need to get to our core now. You don't miss those things. So you prep things up so well, and you made notes, save 10 minutes for this, that you got it all done. That's how that happens. That's how you get it all balanced out, piss them off. All right, the next one. These numbers are the prescription of the work sets. Warm-up sets are not listed here. For another detailed look at this, see the numbers, percentage of the box to the right. So I may end up taking those out, but that's where the calculator is. And it says 12 to 15 times 12. That's the general prescription of the phase. It's not that important because the most detailed stuff you need to know is in those cells next to it, where the numbers are exploded out. Almost there. This is an appropriate place and time, 5 minutes or more, for general stretching and assisted stretching based on the situation. See the list of common assisted stretches to the right that may be performed with the client. Circle the ones that need to be performed and the P&F is needed. So you see under core there, this is number 4. Stretching, 5 minutes, assisted question mark, P&F question mark, cobra, prone quad, prone hip flexor, supine hand through a hip. I'd almost guarantee that 90% of our squat and deadlift problems are right there. So working in those assisted stretches at the end, you get them flexible, you'll get them to move better. I've experienced this myself, on myself, and with other clients, and I'm not worried. Even if it's done beforehand, I've experienced differences, but the chronic change you'll get working at it, stretching afterwards, I mean, compare your own hamstring stretch when you do it to yourself versus someone else giving it done to you. Radical difference there. So make it happen. So circle that to remind yourself to do it, or if there's individual ones, if they don't need the hip flexor stretch, don't do it. Say just the hamstring stretch. That's all I need to do. I need to make sure I do that hamstring stretch each day. So you have a reminder. In some cases, the prescribed set and rep schemes may not be appropriate or safe. However, I fixed a lot of the programming in the phases. There's little places where I thought people would make the best decision and have it, but like falling on leg extensions or lunges as 5s. Sometimes I would do that, but there's options out of that. So you can change the exercise. You can change the reps up. So if you get to lunges, I would say the heaviest 5s. You can do that. As this person can handle heavy sets of 5s, we're not going to do triples in the lunge. And you could actually, the way that different exercises are organized in the workout from A's to B's, that's changed around. There's more horizontal rowing early in the workout versus at the end where it was getting knocked off. There's more pull-down based stuff towards the end, except for in phase 2 where pull-ups are there, that's first versus the rows and whatnot. There's those subtleties worked in there. But there's also a lot more like in phase 3 where leg extensions are worked out. It's a lot more single leg work for that third exercise. So it would look like squat, leg press, single leg exercise, leg extensions is irrelevant. They really need it. You could change that, a shoulder fly to leg extension, kill their legs. The other leg day would look like perhaps front squat, back squat, single leg work again. You got some awesome leg training in phase 3 if they've earned it. But that being said, you can always go to the default rep scheme. 12 to 15 to 12 8 failure. So, any questions? So there's going to be no mistakes.
Good job.
All right, thank you. I've never seen anything like this on Earth. If you have, let me know.
Do you have an app for the iPad for that yet?
That's coming. I got a few formulas I need to figure out. Oh, Lord. So this what's on. This shouldn't take so long.
I'm sold, man. I'm telling you, I'm Mac for life. Wouldn't need like.
I'm gonna turn it off and use
So
everything
hard
for
for
it for me.
Did you see Marshall's new video, man?
What is for his business?
Yeah. You need to check it out.
Is it on YouTube?
What's the Facebook?
Yeah, I'm sure it's on. You can probably find it on YouTube.
I'll show you.
Somebody showed it.
I
What
did.
is it?
Oh, you
training
did,
somebody?
yes. Huh? Oh, it's just this whole
Well, it's funny because
everything from nutrition to
half the shit he's doing in the video is wrong.
The technique?
Yeah.
You noticed that too. And barbell rows.
Boy, oh yeah. And that's his buddy Mark. He paid for the gym for him.
Who did?
That Mark kid.
I wonder what Marshall's do that.
It was a strange
I
word.
know what I had to do. Robert's not here for no reason. Whatever it takes. Alright, I think we're good. There's someone here. Sorry. I think shut everything down though. That's gonna suck.
Keep this one.
Oh, the new Windows 8.
Alright. Okay, so what we're doing here real quick is going to use these cells to jump from phase to phase. So that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. You got to make basic, smart decisions. So going from, all right, so these numbers, okay, look, Mitch, you got a good shot of that?
Yep.
All right, this is the same numbers used here in the cell, I'm sorry, the calculator here that on that prepping assignment, I used the same sheet to develop these numbers. So there's a few exercises that weren't done the same and whatnot, but they were on a 12, 10, 8, 6 to failure kind of setup, and I extrapolated what I thought made sense for these numbers, and this exploded out these numbers here. So that saves some time there, but that being said, again, these numbers are not perfect. I could have found out a formula that would round these up or down to make it easier, but no, I want to know the exact percentage. And you make the best decision. So 68 could be 65 or 70. You make the best decision. So then, this is how it would look if I were to prep this out over here. So 45 plus disc. I don't like to write 55. I'm sorry, that's just me, but to me that's confusing. What if some new trainer came in and didn't understand the way we do things here and put 45, took a bar and put 5s on each side? Now deadlift that from the ground, or I'm going to hand it to you. No. There's big important reasons why we lift the weight from the ground in case you guys were here when I went in those rings. 45 plus D is the way I like to do it, so there's no confusion. Okay, so 68 became 70, 90 became 90, 95 became 95, 99 became 100, and about, so parentheses, okay, this is a newer phase for them. I'm still dialing them in. I don't know where they went in the last phase, so put in parentheses, about 105, about 70 to 75. Don't know how they're going to hold up. It's always the case of about. Nothing's in stone here. So the bar 45, 49 became 50, 65 became 65, 68 about 65 to 70, 72 about 65 to 75. Why wouldn't I just put 70 or 75? I don't know how they're going to adjust or respond. So I'm still keeping a zone there, even though the percentage says X, Y, Z. So that's my take on this. About 65 to 75, about 50, even though these numbers are off. So no set there. I could have put NA or just put a slash that to help my brain get through this quicker. So I jumped to this warm-up set here to save time, because if you think about it, that's probably a waste of time. On 10s, it's too freaking light. I don't need that warm-up set. It's just going to bog things down. In some cases, I might even start on this set here and scratch that one out. In some cases. The stronger they are, the more likely I won't do that. So if I'm able to row 200 pounds for 10 reps and my 100% 10 RM is 200 pounds, I don't start there. I'm going to go 180 for 10 first. So the stronger they are, the more you want to get that warm-up set in. And likewise, with those warm-ups, this I use leg curls. So this is important because we're going to prep the next workout based on these numbers. So leg curls here, 15 pounds. You can see how small these numbers are, so it makes things interesting. I use 10 pounds for the first one, 15 for the second, about 15 plus, because it says 16, about 15 plus, about 15 plus, then only dropping to 10 pounds. These percentages are interesting because what may make sense, it's only 5-pound drop. I'm sure you guys have all seen weird stuff like that happen with such a small drop, and they can just kill more reps. And the reverse is true. Hypers, I'm going to figure out for hypers, pull-ups, dips, push-ups, a better way to do this on this, but really in the meantime it's the old school way. Body weight plus 5, or to 5s, body weight to 10s, roughly. Hypers, just think of that as another one that's not always dialed in with the rep schemes. 10 to 15 reps is typically good. You don't need to stop them at 8. If they got more developed at tolerance, it's not something heavy. It's a maintenance kind of thing. In the pull-ups and dips, there is where I'm putting the band resistance weight. So blues, let's say the 100-pound assisted weight. And I think purples are 75, green 75, purples 50, reds 25. So you can use their body weight and that to give you a number. If you want to do it that way. So you can, instead of just writing purple, green, and whatnot, so if they weigh 100 pounds and I'm using the blue band, it's 0. If you want to get better numbers on this. I'm going to try to come up with a better way to do that, though. You can do that for pull-ups and dips. Dumbbell chest fly, 10 to 12.5, 10 to 15. You can see how nice this is. Like, so literally, when I prep this out, you can use this number weight. You don't have to use the cells at all, the calculator. You do not have to do that. It's not mandatory. But you'll still get a cleaned up prepping process by the way the warm-up sets and the percentage are put in there. You should still take something out of that. But I highly recommend using these calculators because I was able to prep up about 8 workouts last night in the time it takes me to prep up 1. So like I went through workout A, B, and C, and I extrapolated from the last phase of the new one. I typed that all in. It got me started on that first workout, and then hopefully they make PRs as we go, and that'll adjust from workout to workout. That's where my nice note-taking scheme comes into play. But so when we prep up the new workout cards, come in, pump in their numbers that make sense, and bam, you got the first 4 workouts prepped and ready. You still got to write in the numbers for the next day, so that doesn't mean you leave it blank. So come in and write it, but you save yourself a shitload of time. And think about the workouts after that even faster, because it's so clean and dialed in already. So I would highly recommend using those. So, but they're not perfect. So I may have someone jump on the calf raises a little bit bigger than 60 to 70 to 80, but it will make sense. All right, so jumping from here. So that's the 10, 8, 6, 4. We're going to go to 5, 10, 15. All right, so someone tell me. Someone's got to do this for me. Now, we're going for a 5 RM, where they have not ever done 10s before. First time they've ever seen 10s in their life. Based on this deadlift workout, let's say they did 105 for 4 reps. How would you prep the next workout? So it says the 5 RM, so what's 100% of their clean 5 RM? You don't know. You know what they've done for 6, and you know what they've done for 4. Let's say they did 105 for 4 shaky reps even. Think about what's going on with these reps and fatigue and the warm-up sets, and also these 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's one of the nice things about 5s. Ooh, this is different. Something's missing. Are you sure just 5 reps? That's all I'm supposed to do? They start getting it after a little while, so you're not as fatigued. Now, I'm not expecting them to have these huge PRs open, but I'm saying I would take that 4 rep weight they did and probably just pump it over into the 5. Shaky makes it a little bit harder to establish, but you're going into that big set of 5 more primed up and dialed in and not exhausted and fatigued. So considering the form's nice and clean, you will never have a problem if you're conservative on those numbers. Ever, other than that was light. Next time we'll go up. I'm just dialing into this phase. You'll never have a problem there. And they'll walk away thinking, okay, that wasn't so bad. You also have 10 and 15 to save your ass on the first time. You're still going to get some work done. If you don't knock them out of the park with that 5 on the first workout, don't worry about it. You do, however, 100% of the time have a problem if you overdo the weight. 100% of the time. It's not going to go well. And you risk the injury with them. You risk pissing them off or freaking them out. They don't like 5s anymore. They're scared of 5s. It's like the worst first impression you could possibly have for heavy weight training. So always err conservatively if you need to. So I put 105 in for that. So since no one's answering me. So looking at that, they worked up to 105 on that scale. So you've got some reasonable data there to work from. So instead of having to rethink now, what do I do for 10s, what do I do for 15s? I just put the 105 there, bam, knocks it out. 105 for 5, 90 for 10, 75 for 15 to failure, roughly. And all those detailed warm-up sets that, you know what, to me this is where the art and science of training comes in, is warm-up sets and how you work up to heavy weights. That to me is everything. And I always just assumed that people understood this. But this is going to change radical things for you. Please try these numbers out and these percentages for your own training and see the difference it makes. If you just, like Todd's training, if I said Todd go do 5s, he would kill himself. You know, and I'm injured now, and like guys who go do heavy hard training, 5x5 and stuff like that, they injure themselves, they walk away, they blame the rep scheme, the style of training, the exercise. It's because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So you warm up correctly, and so much of the training and stimulus comes from good, solid warm-up sets. You work those problems out in that process. So really respect that. Yes, sometimes there's too many, but see how it goes, and the next workout, okay, we did one too many warm-up sets, take it out and fix it. So anyway, 105 just gave you all this data, just pump it in, 45 plus the disc, that's already 55 pounds there. So what would I do there? I would take that set out right there, and I just save the set until they get stronger. So 45 plus disc, we'll go about 85, 75 to 85. I would start looking at the spread of all the numbers. Do I want to make weird, crazy jumps, or do I want to make this more systematic with 20-pound jumps? I would never, this is another thing that I thought would make sense. You don't go 20-pound jump, 20-pound jump, 20-pound jump, 30-pound jump. Ever. Never in a million years would that make any sense. You could go 20-pound jump, 20-pound jump, 20-pound jump, 15-pound jump, 10-pound jump, 5-pound jump, but never the other way around. A lot of people do that. Unless it's their first workout and and they were going to deadlift 225 and you went 95, 115 and realized that was a stupid jump and you should have went 135. Something like that would kind of make sense, but you should know that already. Anyway, so the barbell bench press, same thing. I worked it off of that 4-rep set there. So let's say they did 65 to 75. How did I do that? Whatever I put there. I worked it up 75. So if it was 65, that's all I do is I type it in, bam, 65. You might even go as far as, okay, this is a client that I've got for a year, and this is a phase I know we're going to see again. I might even save this in my own personal file so it's already prepped for next time. I would expect that their numbers are going to be different next time, but it does give you a head start. It's not a bad way to do things. So plug in 65, 70, and so on. You guys follow me on this, all makes sense. Hypers, I even got nice stuff here like where you write the setting in, you know, to help yourself out, so you don't always have to remind them. They don't have to remind you. Another thing, so for pull downs in here, I may flip order with rows. If they happen to get all the volume in, you may flip that out. There's all kinds of detail there, don't overlook it. Now let's jump to 5, 10, 15. I mean, from 5, 10, 15 to 5, 7, 9, 11. Now, I would hope this is their first time ever doing 5s, and they did 4 exposures with the deadlift with 5s. They better get better at 5s. So I would hope, okay, 105, let's say arguably 110, 115, 120. Let's say they worked up to 120 for clean reps. They work up to 120 for their next phase here, so they're comfortable with fives. The 515 is kind of an introduction to fives. Okay, I said 120 is their new 5-rep max. Bam, here's my 5, 7, 9, 11. Done. Got all my weights and warm-up sets ready to roll. You're welcome. Save you guys a lot of time. Prep that out, and bam, awesome new phase ready to roll. See, I'm on the wrong day. 20, bam. Wow. And so I want to go through and pump out all those numbers. 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay. Then, after 5, 7, 9, I decided to jump. I'm not going to go 5x5s. I don't see it jiving with them. It's too much hard, heavy volume. But I think they would tolerate 3, 6, 9. So I'll introduce threes to them. 3, 6, 9 is like your 5, 10, 15 where it's introducing the threes. You may go 3, 5, 7, 9 after that, which is that or 5, 7, 9 is my absolute favorite rep schemes other than like 5x5, 3x5 stuff. But it's a nice soft introduction. If you want to take some of the threes, you're not sure if it's going to jive, this is where you go. So they just worked up to, let's say, in that 5, 7, 9, 120, 120. It was shaky, we had to repeat. 125, 125. So, going 3 reps next time. Anybody, tell me. They did 120 for 5, right? Was that what I said? No, 125 for 5. Clean set of 5. 3 reps. You got to use your brain for once. So what would you pick?
115, 130.
125, what did you say?
So you said 120 was 5?
125 for 5. 5 rep max and looking for a 3 rep
Oh,
estimation.
okay, 130.
130 works?
135.
135 might work. 140 might be too much of a jump. Okay, hold that thought. That's exactly why this warm-up set is here. It's in yellow, to jump off the sheet. It is optional, but let's say we went 140, like Ben said. We know 135 will probably go well. 125 matches their last 5-rep PR, but we did it for 3 this time. 3. See, it even says 3 to 5. If you look there, 3 to 5. If you're not sure and you want to still hit that 5 and make sure, okay, this was a good decision, you just hit 125 in for another set of 5, we're good to go up. We're going to triple 133 to 135 on that next one there. Okay, they got more left in the tank. You can go to 140. Okay? You just saved your ass by trying to be aggressive there. However, they didn't. Let's go back. So they didn't, and 135 was sloppy and heavy. That's enough threes for them for today. Skip that 100%. Reformulate the number for the 6 reps of 92%. So if they did 130 for 3, you can do quick math because you have the 92.5 there. Use your calculator. I think it'd look cool if you did that in front of your client. Hey, we're going to do 92.5% of this. Like, it's exact science. Wow, it's cool. And that's your new number. Or you can guess them. 115 for 6. Then and so on for that 9 to failure. Use those percentages at first when you're brand new at this because these are pretty tight. That's how on threes it's a prover set. That set is a prover set on if you don't know and you're guessing. But to me, let's say I want to do a heavy deadlift triple at 550. This is almost exactly how I warm up. I'm always going to hit a warm up set. It's probably closer to 500, so I would triple around 500 here for 3 to know if it's there or not. 500 is just a little heavier than normal today. Maybe I would go 525. I definitely got that there. I may feel that out for 5. Okay, I need a test set of 525, then I'd go 550 for 3. It's the exact same way I'd warm up. That's a prover set on all heavy triples I would ever do in my entire life with basic strength training moves. Anybody in here, barbell squat, you're working on a 400-pound squat? 400, let's say. So let's say triple for that would be, what's 90% of that? 370? No, 90 times 4. 360? That's a safe triple for that max, roughly. So if you're working up heavy triples, think about this. You'd be going bar. I would probably throw 135 in there actually. 185, 275, 325, 340 to 342 to prove it out to see if you're good for it, and then there's your heavy work set. My point is, would you jump from 325? This you could actually throw in more detail, more sets, in my opinion, actually, on that kind of scheme. But on 325 to 360, would you make that jump? That's a big jump for a 3 that you're not sure you're going to make. You've really learned that lesson this year, I think. You used to take those big jumps towards your last one, although it makes sense on paper. You still got to feel it out and warm up. So that's jumping from 5s to 3s, or from the accumulation stuff to 5s. That how I consider that. So again, let's try this one more time. 579 bench press. So we got them to, let's say, 185 for 5. So they worked up to let's say it's just 185 for 5. Where would you go for your 3-rep projection for the next time? Okay, 195 200. Let's put that in. 369. 195 200. Let's be aggressive. Let's put in 200. And they did 185 for 5 in the last phase, I said. So they work it up to 150 for 5 as a warm-up, 180 for 3 to 5. If they start to grind out early in that set, stop at a 3, maybe save it for that next 10-pound jump. Shouldn't happen too much of the number of points. So I think that's a safe bet to see, okay, so 185, you already set a 3-rep max at 190. So they're happy already. You set a PR in this new phase already. So, 3s are kind of cool. But, hey, you got 5 more pounds in the bank. Let's go. This says 200, but maybe we'll go 195. So that's how that set works. That's how 3s works. Yada, yada, yada. One more, I think we got. Almost done. Has this been beneficial?
Oh, yeah.
I freaking hope so. Hybrid A. Now, something more cool and unusual. This is going to take me more time because there's a lot more detail involved in these. There's one hybrid done. This is up there right now, so it's phase 2 and 3, I think, hybrid A. This is also dual gender. There's a lot of different things, and that's why there's a lot of detail work here. And this is definitely not, in the standard phases, you can make them work for everybody. Hybrid phases don't always work for everybody. You look through and comb through them and see if it makes sense. I'm also going to give the hybrids names. Like, we're going to have a CrossFit hybrid. There's thrusters in there, maybe kips and stuff like that. It's kettlebell swings, silly shit like that. They're not silly. But there'll be bodybuilding hybrids, you name it. Anyway, this is more of a bodybuilding-esque. This is a hybrid that I would put anybody through. That's gone through phase 2 and done well with it, and there's no problem, mechanical problem. So anyway, barbell deadlifts. The basic hybrid on them was, you may keep it there actually and keep it straight as a maintenance of 10-8-6-4, or rack pulls from the kneecaps. So you set up the racks to where you're pulling from the knees. This is someone who's got A+ spine deadlift form, and you're going to overload the deadlift a little bit. And this is really sort of conservative, but by adding 10% to the load. So I've had people do this and think, oh, well, let's just load it up and just do hundreds of pounds. I have no clue in concept how to do this that's going to be rational for that person. So let's say I put the 10-rep max here of their regular deadlift at 135. Here's your normal warm-up sets in this column that you would normally do with that rep scheme. You may decide to stay with that and test it out. And this is also allows you, if you do regular barbell deadlifts, just to use those numbers. So you got 2 things going there. But if you're going to overload by 10%, here's your new numbers to follow for the rack pulls. So you got a way to follow. You may find that they're conservative and you go heavier. So fine, adjust as needed. But what I say, if you go heavy, then you're supposed to 100% of the time. You made a mistake. If you go lighter than you should have, you can always fix that, right? Barbell bench press. And actually here it says add 10 to 25%. I just gave the conservative number in the front. Barbell bench press. Plus 4 reps, about 2 to 3, and add 0 to 10% in weight. Follow me? So 4 reps, 2 to 3 at the end of the set, plus 0 to 10% in weight. Here's the normal weights. Here's plus 10%. When you look at this, so you have your normal warm-up schemes going on, then it says plus 2 to 3, 4 reps, question mark. It's never clean. Sometimes it's 1 rep, sometimes they didn't understand the way you explain 4 reps, sometimes they got 4 reps in them. It's not an exact science. Overload the muscle for 4 weeks, go back to normal shit after that. It's not that important. This may be 1 4th rep where you normally hit a sticking point and you help them. Normally I freak out about, and so will they, about stealing that 1 rep from them. Don't get in the habit of helping them finish reps and staying in your training. They need to learn how to control their weight under their own ability there. But in hybrid training, we do 4th reps on purpose on those last few reps. And you just expect, and you would write, say, 7 plus 3 circle on this. So that's planned overloading. Dumbbell pullovers to front pull downs. That's a compound set. Compound set perform all of exercise 1, then immediately to number 2. It's not do my pull downs, pullovers, and walk to the other side of the gym and do your pull downs. Ideally, it would be I set my bench up next to the station, hit the pullovers, bam, hit the pull downs. Compound set is the same set. It should happen immediately. So exercise 1, you put in here. So this is my pullover weight, 20 pounds. Exercise 2 is my pull down weight. I pump that in. Here's my weights I'm going to use. Incline machine chest press drops with 50 to 75% times failure. So this goes also if it's a fast twitch or a slow twitch down the muscle. Just depends how this will roll. But typically on a drop set, it's going to be a drop of 50 to 75% of the weight and 50 to 75% of the reps. So the first set, this was not very clear on the old sheets as well. This optional warm-up set, let's say we took that out. We're still doing a warm-up set of the incline machine chest press without doing drop sets. Think of the weight you would use. Let's say it's 15 pounds. No, let's do it reasonable. Incline machine chest press, let's say it's 100 pounds. And we're still going to do a warm-up set just to get them ready, work out any kinks in technique and positions. Then the next set, okay, now here's what's going on. We're going to do 115 pounds for 10 to 12 reps, and then we're going to drop 50 to 75% of the weight and do 55% of the reps. I thought I'd change this, but what this could also say is 10 to 12 reps, then we drop, and it's going to go 5 to failure after that. So it's at least 5 reps, because I know you did at least 10 reps in that set, so 50% at the minimum would be 5 reps to failure. That's how you could say it. If you say just the failure, they may stop at 4. When you know they got more, it's just because freaking drop sets hurt. So it gets them to at least do the minimum expected they should be doing, if that makes sense. So if it's 8 reps, and I use that same method, it's, okay, we're going to hit 8 reps in the first weight, then we're going to hit 4 to failure on the second weight. Make sense? So that's how these numbers are all worked out. And pretty much across the board, they're pretty safe. You can make changes as that goes. So on this set, it'd be, there's your percentage. You worked up to 145, and they're dropping to 72.5 to failure. But really, we're going 6 to failure, then 3 to failure. Leaves the door open. You at least give me 3, because that shit was heavy on the first one, but we may have more. And they may be completely fried out. Incline, you don't have much after the first heavy set of it. Alright. Leave our kip row, drop down, and pauses. Here's our pink box. What's it mean? Optional female change. This is a great male exercise too. They just may feel silly doing a ballerina row. What's a ballerina row? I think I made that name up. One-arm double bench press. Get in the same setup position. Raise the outside leg. And it's harder than you think. It's working stability, works your glute medius on the raise the leg a little bit. You got to work from rotating around. It's actually great. I actually do like it. It's not foo-foo function. It's a decent exercise. So that could go male or female there, honestly. And all those pinks could actually go male or female. Here the tempo is very small. What I'm trying to show you here on the tempo is it's eccentric 4, mid-range 0, 2, concentric 0, lockout. But on the drop set here, with the cable rows, you're adding a pause. So you do your drop set, or your regular set, 10 to 12, let's say. Your drop set weight, you're adding a 3-second pause on that light weight each time. Because rows, the shoulders get sloppy, breaks down on the drop set. Okay, we're a little aggressive on that first weight. The second weight, we're going to clean up and lock the positions back in and get a 3-second pause count each time. There's a lot of times where you may see that working. Push-ups. Push-ups, regular reps to failure. Say we got 5 reps. Then to worms, where you roll yourself from chest to roll up. And however, on those worms, we're going to do an 8-second negative. That's optional, but that's a way you could build someone who's struggling on the push-up. Give me as many push-ups you can to failure from the toes. They're in that intermediate area there of being able to do actual work sets with it. They hit 3, then we're going to go to worms, but we're going to build time under tension here. Instead of flopping down on the ground and getting nothing out of that, the hard part there, we're going to lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then warm them back up. It's like a force or a cheat rep, let's say. Assisted rep there. So that's how this would go. So you have, until I get a better formula for that, but you would write 3 plus 2 circles, whatever. One-legged hypers, there's your progression of body weight to dumbbell to barbell, or one-legged hip bridge, or one-legged RDL, glute ham raise, reverse hyper, etc. Think of who you give with one-legged hypers. Do not ever give them to anybody without trying them first on yourself. They're deadly. Very freaking hard. And I bet you can't do anything. Maybe one each side. But they're freaking hard and they're not easy. And it's a lot of, not only is it hard for the hamstring and hips, but the amount of volume you start getting for the erectors then becomes the next limiting factor. So try those out. Make a good decision, otherwise regress. Dumbbell chest fly to press, band's optional. Same thing. That's the same weight though. So if I put in that we're doing 25-pound chest fly, bam, it's keeping the same weight. And that's just so you know. You don't do chest flies and then go switch the weight out for your chest press. You're pretty exhausting and keeping the same thing one more time. Standing calf raise, here's a subtlety, look at these. So standing calf raise with pauses plus one-legged body weight. So instead of doing 2 legs, it's 1 leg at a time. Right and left times 10 to 15, left and right times 10 to 15, right and left 10 to 15. So you alternate which leg you start with, but you get the details there. Alright, in some cases, I don't think I have any on here, like this where it's a compound set and you're using the same weight, and let's say I have a 10, 8, 6 or something like that, sometimes I use the formulas at 12 to 15, that's not there, so I'm just making it lighter. You're basing the weight lighter because you're doing more reps here versus your 10. Because you're knowing hell you'll get your 10 with flies and then get all this presses. You're not going to make up the bottom. Does that make sense? I think that's all I got. Let me double check. Any questions on this?
What was you had parentheses? I missed that part. When you transition from I think it was from physical 5.